Now write the next point. Expedite the clearances process. Expedite the clearances process. Expedite the clearances process. Getting my point? So it means whenever you do a business, you require certain kind of clearances. Now we are not living in the era of license Raj, where you have to get certain kind of licenses to do business in Indian economy. That delicensing process has already happened in the year 1991. So now we just have to find some kind of clearances like environmental clearances, land clearances, etc. So these clearances should be expedite in order to solve the problem of NPA, because at some times we have certain kind of instances where we have certain good performing industries, but due to environmental concerns as well as land clearances, the project got stalled. Getting my point? So here there is a big problem. So you write few lines. Government should provide single window clearances. Government should provide single window clearances. Government should provide single window clearances in giving environmental clearances, land clearances, etc. So do you understand this point? Single window clearances means you will get all the clearances from one particular window. It means you have to approach only one particular individual or one particular building or one particular window. Like for environmental clearances, you have to visit environmental ministry. For land clearances, you have to visit that particular state where you want to establish your industry. So there are few problems regarding these particular things. Any doubt regarding this? See, आपको समझ में आ रहा है ना? The faces are not clear, that's why I'm asking again and again. क्या बोर लग रहा है? Although topic is not very interesting, I know. If we compare with topics of inflation, growth and development, etc. ठीक है, but this is very, very important topic because you know the gravity of our banking sector. The size of the NPA is 9.6 lakh crores. And government recently announced the recapitalization package. Do you know the amount of that? It's 2.11 lakh crore. And in 2014, when this government came to the power, government announced 70,000 crore of recapitalization package for 4 years under Mission Indradhanush. So these are peanuts in front of this huge problem. So that is why you can expect question obviously in mains as well as in preliminary also. What's the definition of, or what did you understand by the term haircut? Because they are asking frequently one term, merchant discount rate, import cover, etc. If you see the previous year question paper, they are asking one or two terms. In this year newspaper, in this year question paper means 2019, this coming year preliminary paper, they can ask about what is contagion effect. That is in news for last 15 days. आपको पता है what is contagion effect? Newspaper में आ रहा है. If you are not getting anything, contagion effect is frequently covered in the newspaper. I think newspaper of today is 10th, na? 7th. You will find in the 7th September, the Hindu. In the first line itself, there's one news that India's rupee depreciated to 71.28. बीच में आता ना सेंसेक्स बिलो 340. ये न्यूज़ पढ़ी आपने बिजनेस पेज पे द हिंदू में? उस पर लिखा है कंटेजियन इफेक्ट. दे कैन आस्क वन टर्म. अगर आपको कोई डाउट है, यू कैन आस्क मी ऑन व्हाट्सएप. आई एम अवेलेबल एवरीवेयर. स्टूडेंट्स आर कीप ऑन मैसेजिंग मी. आपकी क्लास से करते हैं, तो अगर आपको नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, यू कैन आस्क. कंटेजियन इफेक्ट इज सिंपल. If you have effect of depreciation of emerging market currencies. In our example, in India's current scenario, there is a huge depreciation on the currency of which country? Turkish lira. Turkish lira is the most depreciated currency. The reason behind this depreciation is appreciation in the value of, or we can say the value of dollar has been on rise. That is why other emerging market currencies are experiencing depreciation. So if other market currency, the effect of other emerging market currencies, the effect of depreciation of the other emerging market currency is have an effect on India or other emerging market currencies. The effect of depreciation of Turkish lira on Indian rupee is known as contagion effect. Shall I repeat again? The effect of depreciation of other emerging market currencies on rupee. This is known as contagion effect. न्यूज़पेपर में था, काफ़ी दिन से आ रहा है, तो आप प्लीज़ कोई टर्म पढ़ें तो उसको अच्छे से पढ़ें और लिख लें उसको, और प्लीज़ डू नॉट गूगल इट, क्योंकि यू विल फाइंड 4 more न्यू टर्म्स, देन देयर विल बी अ वेब, तो आप उसमें फंस जाएंगे. ठीक है, आस्क जस्ट वन वर्ड, आई विल सेंड यू अ वॉइस नोट और एज वेल as better as possible I'll type it on it. ठीक है, shall we move on? Last solution. You understand this term? Crowding out effect. Crowding out effect. Now first understand, then I'll make you write. Suppose this is the total loanable fund available in the economy. It means if you want to access all the loans available in India, the total amount is 100 crore. So this is the total amount. This belongs to, कौन कौन लोन ले सकते हैं? This belongs to household. For investment means for corporates can take, and government. These are the 3 types of entity we have: households, corporates and government. This 100 crore is divisible between these three types of borrowers. Getting my point? Now suppose, for example, what are the options with the households? We can borrow from bank. Getting my point? We have another option? No. Do we have another option of borrowing money? I'm talking about formal sector, so do not go think about money lenders, etc. And only banks are the best option, or banks or post office, we can say. What about corporates? They can raise funds obviously from market as well as banks. There are 2 options. But what about government? Government has many options. Options like government can borrow from bank, government can borrow from public, government can borrow from RBI, that is deficit financing, printing of currency. अभी समझ में नहीं आ रहा, so don't worry, just listen. It means government has lot many options, but think about this only. So suppose these 3 types of borrowers having only one option, that is from bank. If these 100 crore is belongs to these 3 types of group of borrowers, if government borrows 20% of it, if government borrows 20% of it, it means loanable funds available for household and corporates is just 80 crores. Whenever in economics you will find shrinking in the supply, obviously what will happen to the prices? It will go up. Shrinking of onion in 2013, shrinking of the amount of pulses we have in 2016. What happened? Rise in the prices of onion, rise in the prices of that particular pulses. So if you find shrinking in terms of loanable funds means funds that are available for the loan in the market. So only 80 crores. So if this fund goes down, what will happen to the ROI, rate of interest? Will go up. So this is the term that government crowds out private investment. Because if government would have chosen another option, then this 20% extra will be available to the corporates as well as individuals. Mainly we are concerning about corporates because we are discussing with NPAs. So if this 20% extra belongs to these corporates, it means supply of loanable funds will go up. And obviously what will happen? Rate of interest will stabilize. So this is the meaning crowding out. It means government crowds out private investment. In simple daily life example, if suppose there is a pizza, if one individual bites a big pie of that pizza, obviously the remaining part belongs to other people. So if the pie is bigger and bigger and bigger, obviously the remaining amount of pizza is lesser and lesser for other individuals. Getting my point? So there is a struggle between that particular pizza. Same thing. There is a struggle for these 80% loan. It means 80 crore of loans. And whenever there is high demand of loan, obviously bank will raise the interest rate. Interest rate means simple cost of borrowing. Or whenever cost of borrowing goes up, what will be the relationship with the investment? Investment goes down because at a higher interest rate, corporates will demand less loan. कॉस्ट बढ़ गई ना आपकी, महंगा हो गया लोन. ठीक है. सो वी राइट दिस वन. समझ में आया ना सबको? गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया should not borrow from banking sector because of the limited availability of loanable funds in the market, because of the limited availability of loanable funds in the market. Full stop. If government borrows money from banks, then government crowds out private investment. That led to the increase in the cost of borrowing. Ultimately resulted in decline in investment. Decline in investment as well as profit. Anita, how it is the solution? Because if government does not borrow from, suppose banks, government will use government securities and borrowing from public, like selling national saving schemes like NSCs and national saving certificates and other schemes like Kisan Vikas Patra. Government can use that. It means government can go through the public debt. This is a separate concept. If suppose loanable funds are only available to the private sector, then the cost of borrowing will go down. It means the profitability will go up, and then the company's ability to repay will go up. This is the relationship. Because at the higher interest rate, you remember the second point, in the year 2007-8, banks were started charging higher interest rate because they were seeing the high opportunity of earning. Whenever you will find, because banks are giving certain kind of targets, to achieve that target, the bank's officials are giving loans to even the risky customers. Then there is a problem of restructuring, etc. But whenever you will increase the cost of borrowing, obviously it will have an impact on profitability of the particular company. And if you hurt the profitability of particular company, then its ability to repay will go down. So in the long term, it will affect or it will have an impact on non-performing assets. Because if their profitability goes down, it means they will not reinvest in the industry. Okay, last 2 points you write. Simple one. If there is a pledged security, of a company, banks should take steps to sell this collateral as early as possible. It means, suppose for example, if there is one particular individual who defaulted on the government's loan or bank's loan, what will happen then? Banks obviously seize that property. You can imagine any willful defaulter of recent news. So people will know that this property is under now bank's control. So if you organize an auction, because after that banks will do a recovery or ARC will do a recovery, people will know that this property is a compulsion from the bank side to sell in the market. So there is a compulsion because banks cannot hold that property. Bank needs money. So what they will do? They will organize an auction. Whenever you will organize an auction, there is a fixing in the bidding and people not bid or to a higher amount. Suppose that property cost around rupees 1 crore. Then bidders deliberately will not go above 60 lakhs because they knew that there's a compulsion from the bank side or from the side of ARC. They have to sell this. So banks will not get extra 40 lakh. So if you have any pledged security or collateral with it means with the bank, sold it as soon as possible so that you will get the near market value. Getting my point? Last point. If a bank experiences the problem of NPA, regarding any company, then bank have the option to convert that loan into equity. Bank have an option to convert that loan into equity. You understand this one? Equity. Convert loan into equity. Suppose for example, a company having worth of 500 crores. Is suppose bank ABC is giving loan to this particular company of 100 crore. Adding a point of 100 crore. It means 100 crore. This 100 crore is the obligation on this company to pay back to this particular bank. If this company is not able to pay this back, then this bank have an option to convert this 100 crore into the equity. Equity means shareholding of this company. So that there is a problem of, if there is a problem of non-performing asset, then this company can function with the help of this extra 100 crore and can function well so that they can earn profit. And by having this 1/6 share in this company, banks will able to earn profit. No? I'll take simpler example. A more simpler example. Suppose 800 crore of a company. This is a company. Bank gives 200 crore of loan. So now the total capital turns out to be 1000 crore. This is clear? This is company's capital, so XYZ company, and this is your bank. Suppose bank A. This is the bank given by bank. Suppose this company is incurring loss and unable to repay this 200 crore because this 800 crore belongs to capital investment. So they do not have any working capital to incur their daily expenses. So this 200 crore they will use for their working capital, like paying salaries, etc. In this 1000 crores, suppose this company is unable to repay these 200 crores to the bank whenever the stipulated time period of a loan ends. Now, banks will have an option that this 200 crore among this 1000 crore is 20%. So the 20% amount of capital invested in the company belongs to Bank A. If company is unable to repay this 200 crores to Bank A, then banks have an option to hold 20% share in this particular company. So banks now become a 20% owner of this company. And if this company earns profit, obviously 20% goes to bank. So converting a loans into equity, this is a better option. Any doubt regarding this? No, suppose na these time to time they can return, but it will give some time for the company. If suppose today the time period ends of the loan and company is not in a position to return this 200 crore because they are earning only 10 crore of profit every year. Then that 10 crore of profit, suppose these companies are earning 10 crore of profit a year and this year loan amount ends. So it means bank wants full 200 crore. So they will say that banks have an option to hold the 20% equity. So 20% of this 10 crore is 2 crore. So 2 crore goes to bank as a profit. That is acceptable. A better solution. Despite receiving anything, you will receive 2 crores yearly. And by the time if the company grows, market grows, they are able to repay. Getting my point? Louder enough, please. Yes.
With the time the bank pays it, the company pays it off through the profit. So what happens the day the company has already paid it off?
What happened after that?
What happens to the equity share?
Then obviously equity share will go down because banks will receive 200 crore. Now banks are no longer interested. If company is earning profit, then it becomes investment of a bank. You remember the balance sheet of bank in the last class. There was a point of investment. Investment by bank in other banks, investment by banks in other government securities, other securities of Federal Reserve, securities of Reserve Bank of India. So these are the investment. Then it turns out to be an investment of a particular bank. But it depends. Suppose banks will say that we want to recover this 200 crore. We want equity to 20%. But if you are earning 10 crore of profit, in the initial years, you should give 50% of that. It depends on the negotiation. So every year, 5 crore will receive by the bank. So in 40 years, they will be able to recover 200 crore. Obviously, it will take 50 years with interest. And the price level changes in the next 40-50 years. So it's a vicious circle. But this is a good option. Take you right. Recent steps taken by Reserve Bank. Viability gap funding is the first mentioned in the first point. Because I'll teach VGF. लिखा नहीं है मैंने लिखा है नहीं. Viability gap funding is the part of infrastructure. We'll discuss in infrastructure. Infrastructure is the advanced level topic under our module. Infrastructure as well as investment module. First you have to understand total economy, all the sectors of the economy. Then we'll take up the higher level topics like infrastructure and investment models. Viability gap funding is a simple concept, but it is done from the government side, just to promote that particular sector. Like recent example, in civil aviation sector, Udan, the best example of viability gap funding. Because suppose if you are running a flight from Raipur to Ranchi, obviously these are not a viable route for private companies who will run Air India, but Air India is also incurring 3,000 crore of loss. Then what will happen? If you are not providing a state run airline, You have to give some incentive to the private sector so that they will go. So government gave a concept of viability gap funding under the scheme known as Ode Desh Ka Aam Nagarik Udan. Under that scheme, government will provide subsidies over and above 2,500 rupees per passenger per 1 hour flight. तो वो पढ़ेंगे उसमें. If we are mentioning here, we are just discussing about, first we have understand the concept of banking, then we understand the genesis of NPA, then solutions regarding NPA, then steps taken by RBI and government. So you'll understand the whole scenario. This is how your picture will be built in your mind. So you'll be able to write in the test. Okay? So you write steps taken by Reserve Bank of India. Recent steps taken by Reserve Bank of India. Number 1, we'll discuss one committee known as PJ Nayak Committee. PJ Nayak Committee. Although this committee gave its recommendation in 2014, but few of its recommendations are still valid. So we'll discuss, because government is thinking on the lines of this committee's recommendation. So this committee's recommendation is very, very important for our next year examination. So first recommendation you should write. Right. Public sector banks should be given working autonomy in order to take independent decisions regarding forwarding of loans, full stop. If government is not able to give proper working autonomy, then government should dilute its share in public sector banks, below 51%. Getting my point? It means, what do you think about this recommendation? Because we had discussed about banking extensively. Is it a good recommendation? Is it a feasible recommendation for Indian banking sector? It means all the public sector banks converted into private sector. Obviously, when you dilute your share below 51%, the ownership will not be remain with the government, obviously with the private sector. Do you know that 53% share in State Bank of India belongs to government? And the second highest shareholder in SBI or other public sector banks is what? Which? Government of India holds 53% of the share. So it means just above 50%. So other 47% share, the majority of that share holds by which body? Any idea? Any guess? Majority is held by LIC. Getting my point? So again, another government body. Then we have other private banks as well as sometimes individuals also shareholders. But these are minimal in number. So government should dilute its share in public sector banks below 51%. So I'm asking your opinion. What do you think? Is it a good step or a bad step?
So this can be done for some banks like who are facing more.
Or facing problem. It means we should reduce the number of public sector banks we are currently having in the economy. Actually, government is thinking to, right now public sector banks are 19, that is nationalized banks, plus SBI plus IDBI. So government is thinking about 10 to 12 big public sector banks. It means government is thinking on the lines of merging two banks, so that we'll have a big banking structure. So on the lines of this thinking, the recommendation of this committee is very important. If you will find any question regarding dilution of share, regarding converting public sector banks, regarding the efficiency of public sector banks, comparison between public sector and private sector banks, regarding the problem of NPAs, you remember the discussion of political pressure. So if you dilute the share below 51%, obviously there was a problem of political pressure was be solved. So will not be the problem again. So you're getting? Yes, that's what I'm expecting from your side. Because we are committed to some socialistic principles, we are also we are having a pattern of mixed economy. In that, state and private should have a mixed blend of, we can say, a particular schemes of welfare, etc. Because there are priority sector lending sectors, for example, agriculture, MSME, in which if you are forwarding 100 crores of loan, 40% of that will go to priority sectors. So priority sectors, two important sectors are agriculture, MSME, and other sectors later included as exports, education, etc. So this will affect.
So these rules are populated by RBI
Yes.
and also private sector banks.
Yes. These are also applicable for private sector as well as foreign sector banks also. So we cannot say this is the problem, but we have to think from this perspective that what are the problems. Like for example, if there is a concept of trust, obviously Indian people will trust public sector banks more. If you see the gravity of NPA, of private sector and public sector bank, think about the situation of private sector bank is far better than public sector banks. Do you know the reason why? Because public sector banks are forwarding loans to fund full projects. And private sector banks are working only or giving loan to working capital. So obviously they have less risk. Obviously their recovery mechanism is also good in comparison to public sector banks. Getting my point? So in comparison, efficiency will go up if you dilute the share below 51%. But what happened? Other motives were defeated. Like for example, if government wants the success, or in 1966, what happened when we initiated the policy, the revolution known as Green Revolution? In 1969, we had to nationalize banks. Why? Because in order to forward loans towards agriculture sector, at that time we wanted public sector banks so that government can give directions to those banks that can give loans to agriculture sector and MSME. Because you remember the term class banking to mass banking. So before 1969, when we nationalized 14 banks. So again, we are doing the same thing. What happened in 1969? There were huge private banks dominated by big corporate houses. They were forwarding loans to industries and big business houses. At that time, the requirement was that loans should be forwarded towards agriculture and other small industries also. So we nationalized that at that particular time. Now again, what we are doing? Going way back, obviously. So what do you think? I'm asking your opinion. There are n number of arguments regarding this. What is your opinion? Is it a good step or a bad step? Government should follow it or not? Because this is a big controversial recommendation given by this committee. Baki recommendations are interconnected. But this is the important recommendation given by PJ Nayak. What are the demerits of this? Think about on these lines. We discussed enough about growth and development planning, etc. Yes, please.
So the major purpose of nationalization of banks was financial inclusion. Like we to
Hmm.
banks. Like if we are moving towards this step?
Got your point. It means whenever you see the public sector banks, you can direct them to open branch in remote areas. If their branch is not earning proper profit, obviously public sector banks will go there. But if you think about private sector banks, obviously private sector and public sector both are commercial banks. And what's the meaning of commercial bank? That they are working for profit. But government can absorb some kind of losses despite having huge NPAs, just to achieve the objective of financial inclusion. You remember the discussion of financial inclusion? We were discussing under two heads, physical infrastructure and human infrastructure, or physical development and human development. So in that physical development, we had a third point of financial inclusion. You remember that flowchart? If you find any question related to financial inclusion, just think about this flowchart and write that particular flowchart. Because if you find anything on internet or in books, you will find everything under the umbrella of financial inclusion. But in writing 200 words or 250 words or maybe 150 words, it is very important to get the direction. That flowchart is important. I'll discuss someday about mains 2017 paper. So in GS3 paper, whatever we had discussed in the last 9 classes, this is 10th class. All the 9th classes, if you remember, from your class notes, you will find questions in the mains examination. You can extract your answer from your particular notes. And that I will tell you how to extract. If you see the question, have you seen the last year's 2017 mains question paper of GS3? We'll discuss someday. बता दूंगा मैं आपको prior information में. You should bring that question paper with yourself. ठीक है, so all you will find in this particular. So main objective, financial inclusion was defeated. I'll take 10 minutes extra. Do you have any problem? पक्का? ठीक है, because I came early morning here in Delhi. So that's why I'll be late of around 10 to 15 minutes. Tomorrow onwards, we'll start at 8 sharp. ठीक है? So there was a problem of the main objective behind financial inclusion is just that branch expansion, etc. So who will provide? There is a concept of banking correspondent. You heard about this in newspaper? It means banking correspondents are the individuals who will provide door-to-door facilities of banking in the remote and rural areas. Take getting my point? Right, next one. This committee gave the recommendation to abolish. This committee gave the recommendation to abolish Banking Nationalization Act, Banking Nationalization Act and SBI Act. And SBI Act because these acts are now become obsolete, because these act has now become obsolete and creating hindrances in the working of banks. Yes, any idea about this? Do you think about this? What do you think about this recommendation? Is it good? We should abolish Banking Regulation Act. You remember the discussion of Banking Regulation Act and SBI Act? We discussed briefly in our banking module. So if you abolish this, what will you do? How will you control banks? So next recommendation, convert all the public sector banks into banking investment companies, so it will lead to increase in the efficiency. So it will lead to increase in the efficiency of working So it will lead to increase in the efficiency of working of PSBs. Now the second and third point are interrelated. Do you get the idea behind this? It means in the first point, PJ Nayak committee said that we should abolish Banking Regulation Act and SBI Act. So in return, we need something to regulate banks. So now he said that we should convert public sector banks into banking investment companies. And when they become companies, obviously, it will increase their efficiency because companies works on the principle of efficiency. And when you convert these public sector banks into companies, it will come under one particular act, which is Companies Act 2013. Latest Companies Act 2013. And with this, in 2013, that government passed, replaced the Companies Act of 1956. So this is the recommendation. Next recommendation. Public sector banks should establish a temporary bank board bureau, in bracket you write BBB, to increase the efficiency in the process of decision making. Bank Board Bureau. It means there is a board. Particularly what happened previous to this, there was one particular individual who takes the final decision regarding granting of loans. So if you have a Bank Board Bureau, it means you will have certain kind of experts in that. And whenever you will have experts, you will encounter the problem of poor project appraisal. Okay? So first Bank Board Bureau established under Vinod Rai. Who is Vinod Rai, you remember? So whenever government thinks about some transparency, when there is a scam, we need certain kind of real things. Government appoints only one person, that is Vinod Rai, a person of immense integrity. So एक ही बंदा आता है, जैसे like before 2014, if there is an economic crisis, problem in economics, think about only one person, C. Ranga Raja. So like this, if we want any integrity, corruption-free environment, transparency, we appoint Vinod Rai. So first time, Bank Board Bureau appointed under Vinod Rai. Okay, next recommendation. That is the last. Separate the post of CMD in the public sector banks. Separate the post of CMD in the public sector banks. What is CMD? Chairman and Managing Director. Full stop. CMD, in bracket you write Chairman and Managing Director. CMD in public sector banks belongs to only one person. Belongs to only one person. But in private sector banks, we have two different individuals. A different chairman and a different managing director. After full stop, it will relieve the burden on single person. On single person in public sector banks. ठीक है. So this completes our discussion of PGNI committee. If you have any doubt, you can ask.